Well, hello, hello. Welcome to Blessed Girl TV special broadcast on today. How are you? How are you? How are you? My name is Dr. Anana. I am the founder of Blessed Girls, and you are here for a special broadcast, special edition of Blessed Girl TV. Let me just tell you a little bit about myself. If you're here for the first time, please say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. Even if you're in the replay, just say hi. I'm chiming in the comments. Let us know where you are watching. If you are coming in from New Jersey, New York, Colorado, California, Trinidad, where you at? Where y'all at? Where y'all at? Ghana, Burundi, wherever you are chiming in from as you're watching this broadcast, we want to know that you are here. We want to say hello and shout you out. We want to shout you out. So thank you for being here today. Again, my name is Dr. Nana. I am the CEO and founder of Blessed Girls Global. We are a nonprofit organization that really has a mission and a vision to uplift, empower, and educate girls and women around the world. Around the world, big mission, right? But we do it. We have an amazing team, and we really work to educate, empower, and inspire girls and women to do what? To be bold, to be you, and to be blessed, girl. So, Blessed Girls offers a wide range of services in our areas, our communities, and we really focus on community and civility leadership. We help to train girls in speaking, writing, developing their life skills, training. And we have an amazing outreach program that is our Pads and Panties project. And this is a project that is to help to aid the end of period poverty around the globe. So that's just a little bit about Blessed Girls and who we are and what we do. But I tell you what, today's session is offered in recognition to Random Acts of Kindness Week. And this actually culminates on Friday, which is the Random Acts of Kindness Day. All right. So we really want to help celebrate that. The whole idea behind this day, this celebration, is to make the world a better place and be better just a little bit through simple acts of kindness. Just simple things that you can do, simple gestures, simple words that you can do. I know I posted on our Blessed Girl page, so hint, hint, make sure if you're not following us, you can go to Blessed Girls nonprofit Facebook page. Make sure you follow us on Blessed Girls TV on YouTube. Blessed Girls NJ on Instagram. Just a little plug there. So all those social media platforms, make sure that you connect with us. But the thing is, around random acts of kindness, it's just the simple things that we could do. Sending a text, saying, just smiling to someone. You just never know in today's time, in this climate, what people are suffering from, what they're struggling with. Just on today's news, I saw it was a senator, I think out of Pennsylvania, a senator that just had to check himself in for mental health issues and dealing with depression. So some people that you think could be, really at the height of their life or their career, you just never know. So showing kindness is so important. So I'm honored today that we have this opportunity to have this session. So here's just a few quick tips, okay, that I wanna offer you in this space, and so that you can do tonight, you can do tomorrow. How about we do it as often as we think about it, right? Another way is to pay it backwards. They say, you hear pay it forward, but they say pay it backward. If you're in line to get your coffee, or if you're in to drive through at McDonald's or Wendy's, and you say, you know what, I want to buy coffee or buy soda for the person behind me. So they call it pay it backward. So buy coffee for the person behind you in the line. You know what? Could you imagine the smile, the surprise that someone will get, and they'll be like, oh no, your coffee is already paid for. Your soda is already paid for. Your pop is already paid for, right? Or let's just say your French fries. I don't know, whatever it is. So that's just some things that we could do and consider for random acts of kindness. The other one is listen, if not tonight, by tomorrow, make sure you compliment 3 people. Can we all do that? Say, yes, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make sure that I compliment and speak positively to someone today, tonight, tomorrow. 3 people. That's all. Give me 3. Right? Send a positive text or message to 5 people. You guys can do that right now. And I'll say that because you can like, comment, and share, right? You can like this broadcast, and you can say, "Hey, thinking about you. I'm glad you're a friend. I'm glad you my sister. I'm glad you my brother." You can even put that in the comments and tag that person tonight, so we can put this into action tonight. Imagine all around the world if people are showing these random acts of kindness and how they can really change, right, our own environment. One thing that I liked was one that I wanted to share as my last one was to donate old towels and blankets to an animal shelter. I don't know if you have a pet, if you have a dog. I have a dog. Her name is Zena. If you have a pet, you can put the name in the comments, right? That you can now help animal shelters. Just they are in dire need of towels and blankets in the space of caring for the various animals in shelters. All right. So everybody got some of those tips? Anybody else have one they want to add to it? Any comments, anything that you want to add in that space of random acts of kindness? Okay, let me see. Let me see. Yes, speak positively. 5 people. Thank you so much. All right. Yes, y'all go ahead and tag some people in. Hello, hello, Tara. All right. They're coming in. Hey, hey, hey. So, what's a random act of kindness that you would do? So, I'm grateful because tonight we are really going to focus on self kindness. We are going to focus on self civility. We are going to talk about self kindness, self civility, and self care. So, y'all ready? Make sure you get what you're going to do. You're going to like, you're going to comment, and you're going to share this broadcast tonight. If it's on YouTube, excuse me, if it's on our Facebook page, you want to make sure that you are engaging, right? Because we have an amazing, amazing guest. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all ready? All right. So, tonight's special guest is an amazing young lady out of Denver, Colorado. Okay. Her name is Tamika Thomas. Amazing, amazing woman. She's a licensed professional counselor. She is the owner of Urban Collective Counseling LLC, which is a mental health practice, and that's based out of Denver, Colorado. And she is a national certified counselor. And now here's the thing about her story that I loved. I mean, I know a few things about her story and how we've met, but as a youth, she attended and graduated from an all-black high school named after its middle-class community, Montbello. Okay. And upon high school graduation, she obtained her bachelor's degree from Metropolitan State University in Denver. Right. She and her BS, her bachelor's is in human resources with a concentration in mental health and counseling. And her minor is in early childhood education. She went on to obtain her master's degree in clinical mental health and counseling from Adams State University in Alamosa, Colorado. And there she became a licensed clinical adolescent therapist. Tamika has over 16 years of experience working in diverse populations of high risk youth and families. She currently owns and operates Urban Collective Counseling LLC, and that's her own private practice as a licensed therapist where she treats and helps adolescents cope with mental health that plague them and all throughout today's society. All right. She is passionate about breaking the stigma surrounding mental health and taking a passenger seat approach to the therapy process. I want her to talk to me a little bit about that when she comes up. But having worked in underserved communities for many years, she enjoys helping clients with adjusting to their current stage of life. Listen, if y'all are here, make sure you show some love, clap it up for my sister that is hailing from Denver, Colorado. Tamika, how are you?
Good evening, everyone. I'm well. I'm well. I'm excited to be here and to just share my knowledge with you all. Thank you so much, Dr. Anana, for that great introduction. Yeah, when other people read your bio, you like, wow, like you can't believe like that's how you sound on paper, like on written paper. So, I gotta just soak that in, like,
That's
okay, I
right.
did accomplish a lot. Okay, I did do some things in my life. Like, go hard, go heavy on it. It's okay to acknowledge your accomplishments sometimes. So thank you, Dr. Nana. I really appreciate it being
Indeed.
here.
And that's probably only a little bit of the bigger picture of all that you've done, because I've noticed some more things, but we just went from that for tonight. But I'm grateful for you being here, and again, with your busy schedule and all that you have going on, I'm sure in the space of counseling and mental health and adolescence. So you know what, you heard about it being a random acts of kindness week,
Yes.
and coming up tomorrow. What are your thoughts about that? Anything you want to add? Any other tips you want to add before we get into today's topic on that?
Yeah, I think I think in this society that we live in today, right, we are just plagued with so much negativity, right? And sometimes that makes us desensitized to the small things of just like showing acts of kindness, of, paying for someone's coffee behind you, or even sending your kids to school, or to, your partner to work with a note, even calling a friend or sending a text message, right? I think we have got so complacent that we don't tap into those type of things that can not only change our way of viewing life, but also impact somebody else's life in a positive way, right? So I am so excited that you have chosen to kind of highlight the importance of kindness and self-compassion, because sometimes we don't even have that compassion for ourselves, right? So to become, recalibrated with that type of practice, it just shows that we can operate from a place of love, right, instead of a place of division. And so, yeah, like that is just dope. And it connects to what we're going to talk about tonight, too. It's like self-care, because in self-care, we have to show ourselves compassion. We have to show ourselves love. We have to, kind of cater to what we need in order to sustain in a society that is telling us to be something different.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. That's a lot right there. Look, we can stay right there. We can stay right there. There's something that you said in your bio in regards to taking a backseat approach. What can you just
Yeah.
expound upon that? I wanted to hear that in your own voice. What do you mean by that? Because I think that's certainly powerful, and I think we do that sometimes. No, okay, once I start, then okay, it's supposed to just happen on its own, or things supposed to evolve. But tell me, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so for people of color, therapy has been something that has been, for the privileged community, I would say, like financially privileged, where a lot of people, it's like, it's expensive to tap into therapy. They don't have the financial resources to do that. And when I work with clients, like I made sure that the population I work with and coming into this field, like individuals can affordable counseling. And so what does that mean? I'm working with a lot of underserved populations. And when I work with them populations, like they're already coming in with a set of societal trauma, chronic trauma, generational trauma. And so they have these preconceived notions of what therapy is supposed to feel like or be like. And so I'm very transparent and open. It's like, I'm on this journey with you. I don't know you. I don't know your story. I don't know how your trauma has impacted your behavior choices. And so I am driving this car with you, and I am sitting along this journey with you. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm giving you tools and suggestions so that you can apply those tools to improve your overall well-being, right? I don't come in as an expert. I come in as a support. You're an expert of you. And sometimes that can feel intimidating. It's intimidating because some therapists have agendas.
Mhm.
Like, not gonna lie, sometimes they have agendas, and sometimes it's hard finding the right fit. Or a lot of people of color who work maybe with non-colored therapists, they're like, they didn't really understand what I was talking about. They couldn't understand my history. And sometimes that in that process is frustrating. And so one of the things I tell them is like, I can't fix you. That's not my job. My job is to help you fix yourself. And what does that look like? Showing up for yourself in therapy, and that I'm helping you drive this vehicle, this journey. I'm on the road with you. What you're experiencing, I'm helping you understand it. What may be problematic for you, I'm helping bring clarity. where you may be limited in your emotional intelligence. We're building that together. One of the things that I talk about is being transparent, because if you're not transparent and open in therapy, I can only work to the level of your ability to be vulnerable, or your ability to share. And so that's kind of what I mean when I'm like walking on this journey with you. You know, it's almost like some of us who have a higher calling and believe in Christ. He's walking this journey with us. He gives us the words, he gives us the scriptures, right? But we have to apply those things to sustain a Christ-like, the word just slipped my mind, but a Christ-like lifestyle is what I was trying to say. So
Got you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think and that goes back to even what we're saying about the mission of Blessed Girls, that empowerment, right? You
yeah,
have to really, we lose our power, or we think we don't have it. We diminish our power. And even in the space of getting the therapy and the help that you need, right? You just don't know. So that empowerment that you even need empowerment in the space of mental health and
yeah,
counseling. I
oh
never,
yeah,
never thought. I mean, I know you learn it through the process, but just to even agree to it
yeah,
and to, yeah, like you like you got the power. Okay.
right. Or you better find it, right? You better. And sometimes, our mental health our symptoms are so severe that it's hard to find that power to even reach out, because even that could be intimidating sometimes. And I know, kind of in the BIPOC community, it's like nothing's wrong with you. You don't need to see no one, right? So it comes with these labels, and it comes with this um, stigmatizing fear to kind of tap into therapy. And it's just like, no, it's the reality that we all are dealing with some sort of mental health illness. And it's okay to tap in. And so you have to find that power to empower yourself, or be encouraged, or be courageous to be like, I need help. Something's not right. I need support. Something's not right. I mean, our Lord and Savior is there, but he also provides individuals that can also assist you here on earth, right? And so it's just like, where do you find that inner strength to reach out? So power
Amen.
is a beautiful thing once you own it and you walk in it fearlessly. So
Come on, own your power. Listen, own your power. We are going to own it. And
yeah,
I think even with this kindness, random acts, that's the
yeah,
power that you have. You
yeah,
have the power to brighten someone else's day. You have the power to show someone else's love, to show considerate.
absolutely.
Power is not just even the strength in that is the
Right.
ability. I think it was like your greatness is really your ability to give.
Yes.
It's not what you have, right? It's not hoarding the things that you have, and the greatness is about your ability to give
And share.
and give gracefully. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, gratitude is one thing as well.
Oh
So I
man.
think we gave them a little bit. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead with the topic today, which is self-care is not selfish.
Ooh, come
Self
on.
care is not selfish. Y'all go ahead and put them in the comments. Again, if you're watching today, please tell us, say hello, and tell us where you're viewing from. We certainly want to know where you are around the world as you watch Blessed Girl TV. But self care is not selfish, it's actually
No.
bold. It's
Yes.
actually bold. It's being bold to take care of yourself and consider yourself, your life, the things that really uplift you, right? To say, you know what? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not going there. I'm not being with them. That's a problem for me. That's not uplifting. That's not supporting me. So self-care is not selfish. It's bold. Come on
Yes.
now. So listen,
Daily.
I'm going to go ahead. I want to actually, of course, as I told you all, as you're coming in, say hello. Let us know where you're watching from,
Yeah.
right? If you have any questions for our guest speaker, for Miss Tamika Thomas, I want you to please put those in the comments, put those in the chat so she can see those comments and address them even as they come through. If something hits your head, hits your heart, and you want to share or you want to ask her, please do that. In this virtual environment, we can be and we can be encouraging. We can give some virtual hugs and we can help each other along the way. So I'm going to turn it over to you, okay?
Yes. 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 All right. Yes. All right. So yeah, like Dr. Nana said, please continue to be interactive in the chat. I see my dad is on. I'll just get a shout out. Hi, Dad. Thank you for joining. I see a few of my friends. My son is on. I just want to thank all of you all for joining tonight. So again, my name is Tamika Thomas. I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Colorado. And one of the things that I specialize in is treating individuals and young adults that suffer with symptoms associated with anxiety and associated with depression and associated with addictions and trauma. Those are my specialty areas. And tonight we're talking about self-care, right? I think that one of those things that when we hear self-care, sometimes we're like, well, what does that truly mean? I think the world has definitely put an emphasis on self-care being commercialized. Like self-care is like taking a bubble bath. Self-care is getting a massage. Like those things absolutely help to reduce your symptoms or to provide relief. But that's not what self-care is, right? Self-care is one of those things where it connects us to our mental wellness. So our self-care is directly associated with our mental wellness. And so if you are like suffering with symptoms of depression and trauma and anxiety, you may lack simple self-care practices like neglecting your daily hygiene practices and routines, right? And so we have to be bold about prioritizing our self-care and also being able to identify that. And I'm just going to put this disclaimer in there. This is just an introduction. This is not saying that if you are suffering with any depression or anxiety, any mental health issues, you still should seek treatment. Okay, this is just an introduction. So our mental wellness is our ability, and our mental wellness and our mental health is our ability to take care of ourselves, right? How do we take care of ourselves? I know one of the things that happened during the pandemic, and now we are post-pandemic, we see that there was an increase in people reaching out for mental health support, but we also see that it was a shift. It was a shift in a lot of us because we had to go through things that were unfamiliar to us. We had to give up things and practices that was familiar to us. And so that was a time for us to really, really rediscover like who we truly was, because we had to sit still and we had to sit still with ourselves. I know I went from working a 9 to 5 in community mental health to being a school cook because I had kids in school. I had to be a school cook. I had to be a counselor at home. I had to be a principal at home. I had to work from home. I had to rediscover who my kids were. I had to rediscover who I was because I had no choice but to show up for myself in that space. And so when we go back to talking about self-care, we know that applying self-care practices may look different for each and every one of us. But it is the conscious act of inviting quality time for yourself that matters. And so if you are in the chat, I want you to just to put in the chat like something that you feel is a self-care practice for you. Let's start identifying that. So what does it mean to make quality time for ourselves? We have been in a world that a society that says busy is productive, which we know is far from the truth. Busyness does not necessarily equal productivity. It just says that we never had the ability to actually prioritize our rest, right? I see someone, Robin says her self-care practice is rest. Yeah, but what does that look like? What does that rest look like? Does that mean taking a break from things and resting, or only given from your ability to actually give, right? And if sometimes you don't know what rest looks like, you're gonna call anything rest if you're not used to actually having that type of practice. And so what self-care does, it says we make that. Hello, Reverend Van Doren. Thank you for joining. It means that we are all worthy of taking care of ourselves in a healthy manner. which will reflect and impact our loved ones as well as our work productivity. And so when we talk about today's society and we talk about today's world, I'm sorry, my computer kind of went there. We talk about let's just go here. We talk about how our world over the last 2 years, over the last 3 years, has offered us with so many challenges that we face collectively just as a human race. We talk about the pandemic, we talk about the Black Lives Matter movement, we talk about illnesses, we talk about this political climate that we've been in, we talk about our spiritual climate, we also talk about this collective grief that I know each and every one of us on this line have experienced over the last 2 years, whether we were impacted directly by the pandemic. I know I was one of the persons who actually had COVID, and that completely shut me down. Or if it was, a family member or a relative who has transitioned from COVID or certain illnesses that we've all experienced these challenges. And what has happened is we become like, I would say consumed with a multitude of challenges. And right now we know that we are living in an age of much despair, much hopelessness, pain, constant grief, uncertainty, frustration, and all these complexities of life. And one of the things that happens is when we're dealing with so many facets and so many complexities of life, we forget to prioritize ourselves. We forget to actually tap into what we are experiencing. And the pandemic did a great job of really highlighting how disconnected we were from ourselves. I know I'm not the only one could speak on that statement, like how disconnected we are. We have to stay still. We had to move from being able to socialize. Some of us who were actively working had to work from home. Some who were retired couldn't travel to go see their family, go see their loved ones. So it just completely shut down what was familiar to us. And so when we talk about our self-care practices, we have to start to look at how our body recognizes when we're in distress. What do you mean by that? Most of the time when we talk about self-care, like I just said earlier, we talk about taking bubble baths, lighting candles. Some of y'all said rest, going to bed at a certain time, sitting near water and meditating, shutting out all the noises, right? One of the things a lot of people think about when they think about self-care, it's commercialized. They think about massages. And even though massages are absolutely important, a part of self-care, but they only treat the symptoms and they don't treat the cause, right? So you're still, after that self-care, after that massage, you still feel relaxed. You still feel like you feel good. You're like, this is great, right? And then you go back into this environment that has so many messages, so many traffic jams, so many sensory overloads, right? That you forget, like, that was, treat the symptoms, not the cause. You forget that was only a temporary fix because you were only getting temporary relief from that massage. It wasn't sustainable. So when we talk about self-care, we're talking about sustainable behaviors to improve your overall well-being, emotional being, and your physical being. And if we know that, like our self-care is lacking due to, us due to some depressive symptoms, we're not going to prioritize anything else in our lives. We're going to start to neglect just the simple things like getting to bed on time, right? Or eating a balanced meal, or exercising, or even talking on the phone. Those are the first things that we're going to start to neglect. And so again, when we talk about self-care, we're talking about our mental and our overall well-being. So what does that look like? One of the things that when I work with my clients, I talk about and I really highlight is your interpretation of an event, of a series, creates your reaction to it. What do you mean by that? If I am in a negative state of a negative mental state, then whatever I perceive is going to come off as negative. Whatever I'm thinking may come off as negative. Thinking sometimes, right? And so if I'm thinking that I am not worthy enough, or I don't feel motivated enough, or I don't have the willpower to really retool myself and to take care of myself, I'm going to start to neglect just the basic things. And if I neglect just the basic things, I'm not going to be able to show up in the world as my authentic self. And so one of the things that we have to do when we talk about self-care is we have to prioritize and identify what is it that we need. What needs do we need to be sustainable? What needs do we need to feel empowered, to feel courageous, to feel to just feel seen in this world that sends us disturbing messages every day we turn on the news. And so one of the things that we can start to do is start to practice these 5 self-care practices. When you feel your best, it is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Would you guys say that to be true? I know for me, it is the greatest thing that I can do for myself, because it's something no one can control. It's something no one can manipulate. It's not something someone can dictate. It's what I have full autonomy over, full control. So the 5 self-care practices that I'm going to discuss tonight is 1, your physical self-care, right? What does your physical self-care look like? Sometimes we think, oh, we're, New Year's, we make resolutions. By February, those resolutions are gone if you don't have a daily, a weekly, and a monthly plan, right? And so when we talk about our physical self-care, we're talking about our mind and physical connection, the mind connected to the body. When you care for your body, you'll think and feel better too. Physical self-care includes fueling your body. What are you putting into your body? What are you eating? What are you consuming? When we tend to be depressed, we tend to eat unhealthy foods, sugars, a lot of sugar, a lot of pastries. That's definitely for me. A lot of junk food. Young adults, they like them hot Takis, they like them noodles, right? We start to eat unhealthy things. Those things can also bring down our mood. It can bring down our way of functioning. So we have to think about, how are you fueling yourself? Are you getting enough sleep, right? Are you having a lot of physical activity? Are you implementing some type of physical activity weekly, daily, or some type of integration of physical activity? How well are you caring for your physical needs? Can you identify them? Do you know what your physical needs are? Like, if we start to practice those physical self-care practices, then we're going to start to see an improvement in our mood. We're going to start to see an improvement in our motivation. So physical self-care is one of the things that we want to prioritize. How can we do that? Making sure that we're getting a lot of adequate sleep, making sure that we're having a balanced meal. It doesn't mean that you just start to implement these things and you're like, okay, that's it, I'm going to start to implement them. You got to slowly integrate them. So what does that mean? Okay, I'm not going to put too much expectations on myself or set unrealistic expectations or goals that I know I'm not going to be able to achieve. So I can start small. Maybe I start to have a salad at 1 meal a day. Maybe I substitute a meal for a shake in the mornings, right? Start simple, because you're not going to be able to implement these things all at one time. But if you have an intentional practice of integrating one step at a time, then you're going to eventually meet the goal that you set, your physical self-care goal, right? So maybe take a salad to lunch. Maybe substitute a meal for a shake in the morning. One of the things that is directly linked to a lot of mental health symptoms is hydration. If you are dehydrated, you will start to see an increase in your mental health, right? You'll start to experience these symptoms. So what does that mean? That means making sure that you're drinking at least 8 hours. I mean, 8 hours, at least 8 glasses of water. And if that is too much, start simple. Start with 2 glasses of water a day. Get some flavor enhancement if you don't like drinking water. But if you ever start to see that your symptoms are really acute and they're really hijacking you, what is your water intake? I'm telling you, water is one of those hidden gems that is underutilized for so many people. So that is one thing that I would say. Adequate sleep. Look at your sleeping patterns. What are you eating? What are you watching before you go to sleep? How is your brain active at night? Are you scrolling for multiple hours, right? Try to decrease those activities. Eating healthy meals, and then exercising, finding something that feels balanced for you, right? If a lot of people I hear when I work with clients like, well, if I get a gym membership, I'm going to be more inclined to start. Well, guess what? You have a TV, you have YouTube. If you're not starting with those videos in your home, how is that behavior going to transpire into actually going to the gym? It's a psychological mindset, right? It's a psychological manipulation tool, basically, that a lot of people use. So again, your self-care practices starts with just your physical activity. Social self-care. Yes, hydration is important. Brittany said, I'm going to stop scrolling TikTok before I sleep. Absolutely, absolutely, because those things, it just flares out synapses through your brain, and your brain is unable to shut down sometimes at night. And then you don't get that adequate amount of sleep that you're needing to feel rested or to feel, empowered to go on through your day. Another self-care practice is social. Like, we are relational creatures. We are not meant to live in total isolation. We all need a social connectivity, right? And sometimes it's hard to make time for family. It's hard to make time for friends because of this busy persona that we have to always be busy. And so what does that look like to have a social self-care plan? That means maybe, if you are a parent, cooking dinner with your kids, right? If you are an empty nester, maybe making dinner for you and your partner, scheduling that time, scheduling time with family, scheduling time with friends. I mean, a simple phone call, just talking to extending the phone call, like we talked about, those acts of kindness. Someone that maybe you haven't talked to in a while, you just pick up the phone, a simple text message, something that connects you to someone else, right? And so maybe watch a movie by yourself. If that feels befitting, if that feels very organic to you, just watching a movie by yourself, maybe volunteering for a cause that is important to you. Now more than ever, it's important to find some type of social connectiveness. So think about, what is your social self-care? And sometimes that social self-care also means cutting off toxic friends, cutting off toxic family members, looking even at your relationships as your friendships. Like, that social self-care is so vital in your ability to maintain your well-being. So sometimes, that self-care practice is saying no, I can't do this. Or no, I don't want to talk to this person. Like, that person is negative. They're just not good for my mental health at that time. Saying no, disengaging, disconnecting, that is okay, but not to the point where you're totally isolating yourself from society or being in the world, right? Find some type of connectiveness in that. Yeah, saying no. So I'm trying to follow it, and I see these messages popping up, and I'm nosy, so I'm going to the messages. So please forgive my lack of tracking sometimes. Our mental self-care, right? Sometimes we also think that self-care is, again, going back, taking bubble baths, right? Getting a massage. But we do not realize how important it is for our mental self-care. Research have shown that humans have about 6,200 thoughts in a single day. If you could just reflect on the thoughts that you've just had today, right? We have 6,200 thoughts in a single day. And when we talk about our self-talk, right? All of us have self-talk. We talk to ourselves. Sometimes we have negative self-talk that tells us, or imposter syndrome that tells us you're not good enough, tells us that we are not worthy enough. I mean, all these negative messages that we have, right? And so when we think about our mental self-care, we think about how our self-talk really affects how we think, how we feel about ourselves. So it's also important to stimulate your mind with mental activities. And what does that mean? Practicing self-compassion. What does self-compassion look like? Telling yourself, if I make a mistake, it's okay to make a mistake. I don't have to be perfect. I can be imperfect, and that is okay, right? Saying I don't have to know it all. I don't have to be all to everyone, right? Showing yourself that self-love, which sometimes is hard to produce and is hard to maintain. Sometimes, accepting where you are, accepting who you are and where you are in life right now. Right. One of the things that happens is we prioritize or we celebrate accomplishments, which are also great, but sometimes we don't also celebrate the mistakes or the way that we're growing when we make the mistakes. Right. We don't have that same type of celebration to say it's okay. It's okay. It is okay. It is okay to not be okay. It is okay not to be all and do all. It is okay not to be okay. And one of the things that impacts our mental health is also choosing positive thoughts. I mean, if I ask you guys on here, name one thing that you think about yourself. Some of us, give yourself grace. Some of us will probably automatically go to something negative before we go to something positive. And we are so quick because we have been conditioned by the propaganda and the messaging that is out here that we have to be perfect or we have to maintain a certain type of status, that we work to achieve that. And when that doesn't happen, the disappointment comes. And usually when the disappointment comes, we can't think of positive thoughts sometimes. We can't think of, yes, Terry, I think I am awesome. Absolutely. Yes, you are. Sometimes we can't think about those positive thoughts. Sometimes it's hard for us to do that. So we have to think, where are we mentally? One of the things that we can start to practice is choose kindness. What we see in this world, there is so much hate in this world that we live in today. How challenging it is for us to just, yes, niece, I am wonderful. Absolutely. Choose kindness is one of the things that can stimulate our mental health and our self-care. Another one, learn something new. Learn something new, whether it is a new activity, whether it's reading a book, whether it's learning a skill. Learning something new will also stimulate your mind, because what we're doing is we are activating our mental health. We're making a positive change, and we're using positive intelligence instead of that negative self-talk that we often default to. So spiritual self-care. I know for me, I am definitely a daughter of Christ and believe in my Lord and Savior. And for me, my self-care, my spiritual self-care is also following Christ, reading the word, right? Letting his word be transforming to my spirit, to my mind, to my body, to my overall well-being. And sometimes that self-care practice is nurturing your spirit. And it can involve anything that helps you deepen the sense of meaning, understanding, and connection to the universe or to your God. What does that mean? Maybe, going to church, if that's what you feel gives you connected to God. Reading your Bible, right? Reading the daily bread, reading, Jesus Calling devotional. Anything that nourishes your spirit and helps you grow is going to also sustain your mental health and also sustain your well-being. I know every morning we get on a spiritual, my church, we get on a morning prayer and devotion. And our pastor has been on fire with just setting the law of our day. And that right there, being able to connect to that, like really sets my spiritual tone for the day. And that's what my self-care starts off with. My spiritual self-care is I know that I'm implementing something that's going to sustain me through the day because I know I'm being connected to the divine, right? And so that is one of the things that you can do, whether that looks like, again, going to a worship service, being in nature, self-reflecting, meditation, going to yoga, reading your word, right? Attending a Bible study, anything that you feel is conducive to strengthening your spiritual self-care. And I think that was kind of what all the 5 self-care practices I wanted to just highlight so that you guys can start to implement them. Self-care is just not one area of life. Again, it's about improving our mental and our well-being. How well are we taking care of ourselves? How well are we using our tools? How well are we retooling ourselves? How well are we able to identify what we need? And sometimes when we prioritize our self-care, a lot of people will call that selfish because you're putting yourself first. And if you're used to giving and you're used to being there and used to doing this, people won't understand that. But that is why it's important for you to establish boundaries. And boundaries are there to protect you. And so if people call you selfish for prioritizing you, well, then you know what? That's okay. That is their opinions of you. And those opinions do not dictate how you should prioritize you, right? It's being bold. What does bold mean? It's mean being courageous. It's mean being fearless. It's meaning that you are also learning to protect who you are. I know one of the things I was just talking to one of my best friends earlier, and she was saying how one of the jobs that she works, the job that she's also in the mental health field, and she was saying that the employer was denying one of the doctors a vacation. And I'm like, that, sometimes that happens where they will deny it, but they put in enough notice and they were saying, you can't go on these trips. And one of the things that we were cultivated in the conversation is you are replaceable at any job. You are replaceable, but what is not replaceable is your mental health and your mental well-being. If you are not at full capacity while you're at work, you're not going to be productive at work. So you need to be able to take, and I mean, that sounds kind of forceful, be able to. You should prioritize, again, in your job, like, I need some vacation time. I cannot be productive at work if I'm dealing with some mental health issues, if I'm dealing with some mental health symptoms, right? You have to be bold enough to advocate for yourself to take the time that you need. Because if your mental health happens and it triggers other things, mental illness, physical illness, you best believe that they're going to have that job description replacing you less than 1 to 2 weeks. And then who are you going to show up for when yourself has been depleted because you've given everything to this job? You haven't prioritized taking vacations. You haven't prioritized taking mental wellness days. And if you're at employee, I'm sorry, give me a second. Sometimes I get so excited that my words jumble. If you are at a job where these practices, your job doesn't have mental health days, be the solution. Go to HR, advocate, start a group, start a movement. I'm telling you, mental health is at a high. We got so many suicide rates. We got so many depressive individuals, anxiety. Be the solution in your work field, at your job. Start to implement these things. Take wellness days. Call off sometimes. You don't even have to give an explanation. You're just taking the day off, and take the day off. Right? Be a part of the solution. Implement these changes that you definitely need to see in your job, right? Overall, even in your families. Sometimes even in our families, we don't even know how to prioritize ourselves. We don't even know how to take time off. Start the change, because it starts with each and every one of us. Start these practices. Implement these things. And if it feels selfish, it's because it's unfamiliar to you. But the more you practice it, the more it's going to become familiar, and the less you're going to judge you. unless you're going to judge prioritizing you. So that's all I have. Dr. Nana, if you want to join me, if we got some questions, I can answer those questions. Hopefully, you guys took some gems from what I shared today.
Oh my goodness, this was so good. More than I know I learned a lot. How about you guys? Give us some hearts, show us some love. Let's share with our audience and of course our amazing speaker and counselor. Any your top takeaways, anything you want to just some aha. Because I tell you what, that commercialization of self-care is real. Yeah. Right? We think about mani petty, doing all those things, getting a massage, but you talked about that. Like you said, that's just what is it called? You like it's almost like you feel good for the moment, but it's not really getting to the root of what caused the stress and things like that. Is that right? And so that I thought that was really, really key. Because that's what is always put out on the front because it's business, right, to get you to do these things. But after that, then what? You know what I mean? If you don't change those environment, if you don't change and prioritize certain things to set up the boundaries, you're gonna need a vacation, a massage, everything, every day, every 6 hours, every 8 hours. So I don't know if you want to add to that, but I thought that was really powerful because that's all about marketing. And I think it's deeper than that. It's much more to it than that. And I feel like you really you hit the head on the nail.
I mean, because when we think about, like we think about double baths and we think about massages and acupuncture, like those things work. But what we're doing, we're seeking relief and we're searching for ways to live in balance, right? But many of those coping solutions is what we'll call them. Many of those coping solutions just don't work, right? Just don't work. And the spotlight has been focused on, like treating the symptoms, the relief, rather than the cause. What is the cause? It's sustainable behavior. It is prioritize our mental health and well-being, which is going to which is going to be a catalyst for us to maintain self-care practices. Indeed. And that's where you gotta be bold about it and be unapologetic about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I thank you so much. I think tonight, again, we talk about that empowerment, raising that awareness, raising the bar was absolutely incredible. So the 5 is physical care. And that's understanding that mind connects to your body, right? So if your body is feeling sluggish, what's going on up here? And vice versa, right? What's going on here? That's affecting how you do and care for your body. I love that part. Hydration. I went and got my bottle of water. Look, I poured it in my cup. I was like, wait a minute. Let me go. I ain't drank enough water today. Let me keep drinking. So thank you for that reminder. It caused me to go right back and get my bottle of water and make sure I was drinking. So hydration is always, always key. I remember one of my physicians, she was always say, you drinking enough water? I was like, what you mean about drinking enough? Because so many things was tied. My health was so many things was tied to how much water that I was actually taking in. So I feel like that is key. Social self-care is key. I think it was Brittany was talking about being on TikTok, being on social media, how that affects us, but also not living in isolation. And that was something we felt from the pandemic. But scheduling time for dinner, scheduling time for calls, right? I mean, just scheduling time to engage with whoever is uplifting, being around people that are positive for you. Anything with that?
Good? Yeah, it's important. Absolutely. Good recap. Yes.
I like the part about the social self-care was volunteering. And that's definitely something we promote, especially for our girls, but everyone. It's when you give, you're really receiving, right? Get out there and volunteer, give back. And there's so many opportunities, so many places where you can serve and volunteer. So volunteering helps you to open you up, and that can be a form of self-care. You feel a lot better. I tell you, I don't care what you do, how you volunteer, you leave that place, you leave that space feeling a lot better by giving back and volunteering.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Mental self-care. What you thinking? What you saying to yourself? That's stinking thinking, right? How you speak to yourself. I saw that one of the self-care, one of the random acts of kindness tips was to write positive post-it notes on
Yep.
your mirror. So
Yep.
when you see yourself every day, you say something positive to yourself. Girl, you look good today.
Okay.
I am beautiful. One thing we always teach is affirmations, and I'm sure that's
Affirmations.
something, yes,
Yes.
that you speak of is how do you the I am statements. It don't
Yes.
matter what nobody else say to you, it's what
Right.
you say to yourself. And the I am statements are so positive. So we saw some of
And
the
powerful. And
yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
And powerful. You think the more that you use them, the more that your brain is gonna say, yeah, it becomes believable, right? It becomes that validation that we seek. And sometimes we seek that validation from the world, but we don't know that the validation starts internally. It starts with us, that validation. So that's why it's so imperative to use affirmations. And I am one person, if you come to my house, you'll see those post-it notes with those affirmations stuck on my bedroom mirror and my bathroom mirror. I'm getting a double dose. Okay.
Come
I'm
on.
just not stopping there. I'm getting a double dose because that is what keeps us balanced
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. For sure. Well, Brittany's saying she need a post-it on her head about drinking that water. I have a coworker. She brings in her whole gallon and it just sits right there. I'm like, you making sure you get your water in, right? So once you have it with you, it's gonna always be a constant reminder. So thank you. Hydration is definitely key. But those post-its, I even saw people write it on their mirror. On or have a dry erase board, but those positive things, because it starts here. And what on the
Okay.
outside, if we strong on the
Mm-hmm.
inside, right? The things on the
Mm,
outside will not have such an influence when you are clearly on who you are. So I
mm.
love the I am statements. Those are certainly key. Choose kindness, learn something every day, learning something new.
Yes. Because you're creating neural pathways, like you're creating those new brain waves when you're creating something new every day. Your mind is constantly working to obtain the dopamine release that you get from learning something new. So yeah, something simple, read 5 pages a day of a book, or like listen to podcasts. Fill your brain with the positive things. I mean, the world already makes us, believe that it is more, hateful than what we experience day to day. So find that balance, right? Find
Yeah,
that balance.
I love it. I love it. And lastly was spiritual self-care.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Jesus, we need you.
that's
Lord,
it.
we need you. Let your
Spiritual
spirit reign.
self-care. Come
Yeah.
on. It's so simple, but yet so vital. And when that piece is missing, oh, it's a lot missing, right? I don't even care if you have everything else in its place, and you might have the financial, you might be in physical shape, right? You all these things, your social circle, but when your spirit man is lacking and at a
Man,
deficient, when that deficiency is there, that's something else right there. Look,
a
that's
ripple
something.
effect. It's a ripple effect. Mm-hmm.
Very,
Mm-hmm.
very good. Very,
It's a
very
ripple
good.
effect.
I truly enjoyed you. I thank you today.
Yeah.
Again, just a round of applause, some hearts, some love to my
Mm.
amazing sister for being here today and sharing. We're grateful that she has joined partners in collaboration with us for Blessed Girls, and she will be here quarterly. Look, I'll put it out there, right? So every quarter she's coming back as a special ambassador. I have an announcement about that coming, but she will be back to share and help us and support us along our journey of self-awareness, self-preservation,
Yeah.
self-civility as we continue this journey moving forward with Blessed Girls. So any parting words for the audience tonight?
I'm just gonna say, start somewhere. Start
Mm,
with what you are needing. Start to identify it. Don't judge it. Don't feel selfish, right? Like be bold about it. Find decompressing routines that improve your mental health and your well-being. Um, and that's it. That's it. I thank you guys for listening. I thank you for allowing me to jump on, Dr. Anana. I mean, sometimes my anxiety is like, girl, what you talking? What you saying? And sometimes I'll be like, I don't even know what I said. But you know what? I'm courageous and I'm bold enough to continue speaking. Okay? To continue talking. And sometimes that right there is honoring where I'm at. Honoring where I'm at, right? And acknowledging it and being vulnerable enough to expose myself to you guys all in that, in that way. So thank y'all. I'm just excited to come back and talk about topics. So if there's some things that you want to know more about, please also share those so I kind of have like a base to go from, because sometimes what I think you may need may not be actually what you need more introduction to.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Well, listen, we love you. I thank you. We're getting the some of our blessed girls are chiming in. You see, that's when you could tell that's when the period. Look, you know they talking to you now. Look, be bold, be you, be blessed, girl. Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you all for joining tonight. We truly appreciate, again, if you're watching, that you share the broadcast, because here's what we know: you do not know who needs this message. You do not know who needs to understand the importance of social self-care, of mental self-care. Just one of the five can help save someone's life tonight. And I mean that. And I feel that. And I believe that. So you help us, right? And you share this broadcast. If it's on YouTube, Facebook, I don't care where we are. And you do those acts of kindness tonight. You do those acts of kindness tomorrow. Make sure that you share the love and continue this as we move forward. All right. So one announcement, we're going to be back, as we said, Miss Tamika Thomas, she'll be back with us. We have the whole year planned out. She's got some amazing things. So make sure you subscribe to Blessed Girl TV. Follow us on Facebook, Blessed Girls Nonprofit. But here's the thing: next Saturday we'll be back. I think maybe next Friday and Saturday. We have our new book coming out. Hopefully where do I have to go? Yes, yes, yes. The 4 C's is coming. The road to sustainable change, it is here. Our virtual book launch is happening next week. And of course, I wish I could see. Do y'all see her? She's there. She's there. She's there. She is actually a co-author in our book, and she wrote a chapter on civility. So we're excited for you to come and meet all of our authors next weekend as we do a virtual launch around the globe next weekend. So the 4 C's, the road to sustainable change, our second edition is coming out, and we'll be releasing that. So stay tuned, stay tuned. Make sure you like, follow, comment, and share. And if you want to connect with Blessed Girls, go to blessedgirls.com. Hopefully somebody could put that in the chat for me. Blessedgirls.com. Hey, I want to join you. I want to be a mentor. I want to be a mentee. How could I learn more? You can info at Blessed Girls if you want to hear more about 4 C's and what we have on. So let's stay connected in this time, in this season. It is so important to stay connected. Stay connected. And if you don't have anyone, now you do. You got us. You got me. I know Tamika, she didn't share. I think it's Mika Love on Facebook. You could connect with her website. Maybe she can put that in the chat. For those of you that are in Colorado, if you know someone in Denver who may be needing her services, make sure we make these connections, because I'm telling you, every day we see more and more how necessary, how needed, how much mental health is a priority. And we can all do this and make an amazing change and impact together. Together. All right. So thank you guys for watching. Listen, comment, and share. Only 3 things I'm saying: like, comment, and share. Remember our tips, and let's stay connected. All right. Yes. Love you guys. Have a good night. Thanks again.